What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for April 10th, 2023. That's it. It finally happened. They finally confirmed a full wipe for 3.18.1 and 3.18.2, but a lot of the issues that we're dealing with in 3.18 today are going to be resolved, hopefully, in the 3.18.2 patch after those wipes are complete, and then a monthly report shows massive progress on 3.19 and beyond features. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first week in review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share some of my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike, every day but Monday, so I can get this video out to you guys, starting at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, we have a bit to get through, so let's start out with what's going on with patch 3.18. All right, so let's start out with the one patch that we had this week. It was on Thursday, and it was on the 3.18.2 build. For feature updates, they spent some time updating the density manager to be more aggressive, so hopefully we won't have garbage everywhere in 3.18.2 like we see in 3.18.0. They also improved entitlement processing, so maybe we'll actually be able to log in as well. We'll have to see, though. For bug fixes, a ton of exploits were fixed. The loot boxes that showed up red and were unlootable should also be fixed. Fingers crossed there. Security post Korea should have a lot more loot containers than it has now. If you didn't notice, 3.18 has way less than it did in 3.17, and we've seen this one before, but they fixed unscannable rocks for prospector miners. Now for the wipe, Zyloh on Tuesday said he was asking around, didn't have any information to share for us, and then on Thursday confirmed a full wipe for both 3.18.1 and 3.18.2. What is a full wipe? It's where your money, your reputation, and any items or ships that you purchased in-game are wiped right back to your starting point, where you would have started in that patch. Ships that you purchased on the website are immune from this, because anything that you buy on the website becomes your starting point whenever the game launches and for new wipes, right? We've talked at length about this. Now, I am biased. I want to wipe, but I only want to wipe because I wasn't able to play. I was on vacation when 3.18 dropped. I was not able to log in when I got back. Like, it was just totally problematic for me, and I assumed we were going to at least get a partial wipe for items and things like that, which is all I really care about. And I just was like, all right, 3.18.2, ready for the wipe, excited for it, right? That's just me. How do you guys feel about this? Some of you guys have probably been able to be in the whole time and have been earning rep and all those things. What we really don't know about is the length of time between the 0.1 patch and the 0.2 patch. 0.1 is for these entitlement fixes, things like that. The 0.2 patch is for mostly bug fixes. So how long is it going to be between those? We don't really know. I don't expect it to be too long, but we'll have to see. So that's it for the patch updates. Hopefully things are going to be, we're going to have some good news in these patch updates soon. And let's move on to roadmap updates, which is a little bit more exciting. Pretty simple stuff for roadmap roundup. It's all cards that are in 3.19, basically. So tractor beam, attach and detach. We saw this in a previous Inside Star Citizen, and it's very simple. It allows players to use a tractor beam to attach and detach items from ship item ports, so weapons and shields, things like that. The possibilities here are pretty huge, but it'll be a lot better when we get some proper gameplay here for progression and things like that with ship items. New player experience. This is the first 30-minute experience for players. It'll take place on ArcCorp. Just really looking forward to seeing how they did this. Salvage contracts, also very excited for these, but I'm tired of hearing about them, and I just want to get in game and try them out. I assume when they come back from break, we'll see a lot more around this, because for me, this is one of the biggest updates in the 3.19 release. For Ghost Hollow PvP missions, it sounds like a King of the Hill mode of some kind, but it also sounds like they're just copying Security Post Korea and putting it down at Ghost Hollow. So I don't understand why the game has not really addressed the situation of finding things that are worth fighting over, items that are more powerful than others, things like that. Currency just isn't it, but we'll have to see. One day they'll figure it out, I guess. And for Lorville Cityscape, if you could buy better items in the city, this would be my home for sure. It looks absolutely amazing. And this is another one that I just want to like get in game and fly around and see. I'm kind of bored of hearing about it. Like, can you just absolutely tell how hyped I am for 3.19? So that was Roadmap Roundup. Let's go into the monthly report and see what kind of progress I was talking about in the intro. We'll start out a little slow with character art. The only thing that stuck out to me here was these two gangs. Couldn't really find any information on them, so they must be pyro gangs, is what I'm thinking here. The Headhunters and the Rough and Ready gangs. For ship art, UK ship art specifically, the SRV is closed out, and this is becoming a must-have ship based on the way the game is currently working. I think they will actually need to put these tugboat-type ships out from multiple manufacturers at this point, with, you know, having to move I don't know, a soft death ship to a location that's safer to, you know, move the cargo from, things like that. Hull C is getting further support, which it's seen for the last 5 years, and the Freelancer is getting the component upgrade it needs for us to change them with those tractor beams. They also talked about unannounced stuff, which basically means nothing to us at this point. Ship art for the US teams, the team worked on some subflare paints, more on those later. The new vehicle approaching, there's like a new vehicle approaching completion, and Greybox Santokai is still ongoing. Nothing big there. The Arena Commander feature team, things really to point out here are just a big step that AC changes have made it into game dev. It's not just being worked on their own branch, and while not yet in the cards for 3.19, a lot of Arena Commander racing stuff seems to be the focus. For character and weapon features, this one's a surprise. Weapon heating. There is now an option for weapons to overheat, which would cause a debuff, but they also mentioned buffs for weapons at certain temperature thresholds. But these all felt like discussions and not really anything that's going to be in the game anytime soon. Really doesn't even sound like they prototyped it. Gameplay features. Most of this stuff we already know, and they just kind of hit me with this one bomb here. Ship refinery work has begun, and engineers will start to work in their next sprint on it. This is big. For someone who absolutely loves the changes coming to 3.19 and loves group mining, ship refineries really add a whole nother layer of complexity and fun and logistics to the game. So that's massive for me. For mission features, this is all stuff I really like. Tons of stuff here from the mission team. Salvage contracts were mentioned as expected, but they're actually looking into proper cargo missions involving destroyed ships, which looks like a clear workaround for the lack of completed cargo refactor elements like freight elevators. Honestly, some great thinking here. Having cargo missions as early as possible is a win for people who like hauling. Next is an interesting one, a proper escort mission where you escort someone through quantum travel. This has to be with the new quantum travel systems that are coming in, not the old ones. I just also see this having so many issues with servers and things like that. And lastly, data heist missions. So just tons of variety. Love seeing this. This is going to be really cool. The game is really, at the moment, way too repetitive, and all these other options for things to do mission-wise is really cool and exciting. And then lastly, they worked on some law system stuff, basically allowing us to defend our own ships when people board them, as well as giving out crimes committed for doing things with a tractor beam that maybe you shouldn't. For VFX, the team is trying to make water look better, and it's certainly below the bar for what other games do with water at this point. Locations EU team, big takeaway here is law offices that we discussed on last week's ISC, and I do want to point out from our cargo discussion earlier that cargo elevators are still getting work, but no timeline on when we'll see them. And then last on this, they have underfloor areas for outposts stealth missions, which we've seen the AI, don't expect much there. And then narrative. We don't normally touch on narrative, but I think the last sentence here is one of, if not the most important update in the entire monthly report. They're looking on how to communicate drifting into criminality rather than just having the choices available right away for you. I think this coincides with work related to long-term reputation. I start out neutral. I can either be good or I can start becoming more and more of a criminal, and then more and more missions become available for me the more I become a criminal. The idea that crime stat ratings just become wiped and all of a sudden you're back to neutral is still such a weird concept, and narrative seems to be working on something to eventually abolish that. So that's what we have for the monthly report. Very exciting, tons of interesting stuff, lots of progress. Very, very, very exciting. Let's move on to other updates where not as much is going on. And for other updates, we start out with the sneak peek, as we always do. They have about 300 ships in production, yet they are sneak peeking the same one every week. I don't really get it kind of confused on that one. All these unannounced ships that they don't want to give the name for, even though we've heard what some of the names for them are. I don't know. And then for subscriber flare, starting out, this is only for the paints, basically, or only for the 4 ships that are displayed here. So $10 subs get paints inspired by Crusader, the Hosanna pack. $20 subs get paints inspired by Microtech, the Aspire pack, and any sub can buy the Central Tower pack inspired by Hurston. And lastly, these paints range from $17 for a pack down to $3 for a cutter paint. And also, the Razor is a free ship that's available to you for right now. The 4 ships that are available are the Razor, the Ares Starfighter, the Hawk, and the Cutter on those paints. I may have missed explaining that. And then there is an Inside Star Citizen and Star Citizen Live break this week. There was 0 video content this week, as it was a bank holiday and on Friday, so there was no Star Citizen Live. Now, a lot of people get upset at the idea that there is a 3-week hiatus for Inside Star Citizen, and guess what? I'm obviously biased. I want all the information coming out of CIG all the time, but there has to be a better way, is just how I feel, that they can get in these 3 weeks, they can do a lot of work to get ahead. So the following 3 weeks, they're still putting content out. Maybe we only have a 2-week hiatus, and then they get ahead some more, and then only a 1-week hiatus, and then no week's hiatus, and they're always ahead of schedule. We see companies like that make YouTube videos like Linus Tech Tips is way ahead of schedule. He's able to go on vacation and do things while the team is still able to put out videos. I think Jared has a big team around him now, and I think we can expect to see something like that maybe at some point in the future. The other aspect of this is looking at the monthly report, you're starting to see a lot more gameplay focused, updates. So there's going to be a lot more items that they can choose from to actually make videos about. So they can have the opportunity to film a lot of things on one day and turn them into many videos in the future. So hopefully that's the case. I don't know. Just my feelings. What do you guys feel about the Inside Star Citizen hiatus? And leave a comment down below. But that'll do it for this week, guys. So thank you very much for watching Week in Review. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. As always, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I've mentioned this on previous Weeks in Review, and answer the calls as well. And on my live stream, on April 22nd, will be done working in the casino industry. I am doing this full time, so if you guys want to go above and beyond, you can by supporting and becoming a member to this channel. So link, I think, will be down below. There should be a join button as well. So feel free to do that if you guys want to. It is much appreciated, and thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff again, and I will see you guys next week.